Hello, Bake Club. I don't even know how to begin this episode. I want to say good evening, good night. It is 1:10 a.m. here, and this video has very much a vlog character because I'm in the car. I was flying home today, and my flights have been so delayed that I was not able to record this podcast at home, so I'm super lucky because my lover, can I call you my lover? I don't know. Always when I say boyfriend, I feel like a 14-year-old girl, and when I say my partner, I feel like one of these, one of these Ubud sex party people. So I'm just gonna go with my lover. So my lover has picked me up from the airport equipped with my podcast equipment, and I'm gonna do this as good as I can. I'm coming back from a 2-week streak of vacation. The first week was me and my lover have been on a sailing boat with his brother and a friend for an entire week, and it was the ultimate nervous system reset. It was so good to be on the water, sail away, and do nothing. And the past week now, I very spontaneously booked in a retreat, and I want to give you a little life update and a little bit of my experience about that. This week's episode is going to be a little bit shorter, a little bit messier, a little bit quicker, and there's not even a pastry that I can serve you, but thank you for being here with me. Let's get into it. So I booked this yoga retreat with the intention of coming out nurtured, replenished, and totally relaxed. Well, that isn't the case. While the retreat itself was amazing, it wasn't so much of a retreat. I spent the last week in Greece with a really big group, a community, a kula that I have never before been a part of, but that I've always admired. The teacher is phenomenal, and I adore her ways of teaching myth and movement, and that was also the very core of the retreat. We connected embodied flow with Greek mythology, and let me tell you, these Greek myths really came to life, and I did learn something. I feel like I need a vacation from this vacation but I have gotten some really beautiful drops of medicine from my time in Greece. So we've been moving along and walking through a lot of those ancient myths, and if you know me, you know that I love to teach in and with story, with these archetypes that I myself have noticed come to life if you invoke them, if you feel them, if you connect to them. And that was very much what happened over this past week. So the entire group, and I believe we were 20 people, we collectively descended to the underworld. And I'm not just saying that. We literally have been to Pluto's cave. That is the very place, and maybe these names and these myths don't mean anything to you. Please let me know if we should do a catch-up episode on that. That might be fun. But that place, Pluto's cave, is the very place where it's been told that Persephone has been returning to Hades. Like, this is where the earth has opened up, and this young goddess has been drawn into the underworld. And when I say we collectively descended to the underworld, I mean that we were so immersed in that retreat space that a lot of things came up, and there was a lot of pain and a lot of suffering. And I sat in that. And here I might need your opinion too, because I believe I have not decided and took my actions and steps accordingly, because honestly my life is so freaking great at the moment. I'm feeling an overwhelm of joy, and that is my baseline at the moment. So I'm doing pretty well. But I felt almost cautious of that. I felt that I had to hold my joy back so that I wouldn't impose it on the pain that was in the room, the suffering, the hurt, the trouble, the anger. And there was so much of it that it really became a theme. And you know, if you've been in a yoga retreat or if you teach yoga classes, you know that it's always the accumulation of people and of stories that create the retreat, right? You can have an intention as a retreat, or let's say as a facilitator, but honestly it's the people that create the vibe, the color, the energy that will flow through the room. And also, this is my experience, right? It could be that somebody else who was on that retreat experienced it completely differently. But my experience was that there was a big headline of pain and suffering, and it was beautiful how that was held. I really want to emphasize that this kula, this sangha, is so strong and so well held by the facilitator. This might also be a really good place in doing some sincere and genuine promo, because once again, those facilitators, the main facilitator being Colette Davis and Chris Skidmore, were absolutely phenomenal. I mean, top-notch facilitators, and they've held and guided that group really beautifully. But back to my experience, I found myself in that group, in that retreat space, in that energy. And I really struggled because I suddenly dipped into my role as a facilitator, because that's what I do, that's my life. And naturally, I held down my own story to allow whatever had to come up from those dark and really harsh places to arise and to unfold, because that's so freaking important. It's so important that everybody's able to express themselves and find themselves in a safe space where trauma and heartache can live as well, right? I don't want to say that, you know, there's way too many good vibes only yoga studios, cultures, communities out there. So it's really important that there are spaces like that. And my lived experience in this retreat was that I couldn't really navigate what my role was, because I hadn't been just a participant of a retreat in such a freaking long time. So I almost silenced my joy a little bit. And I know this is a very, very, very privileged problem, but I became less joyful. I became quieter, to the extent of where at the middle of the retreat, one woman walked up to me and she's like, "Wow, I've noticed that you are one of the more quiet ones." And that really struck me, because I'm usually not. I'm usually certainly not one of the more quieter ones. And I just noticed how my experience in that retreat that I had invested in became covered by my role as a facilitator, which was certainly not my role. And once again, I know I have agency. I know I am responsible for my actions. And I'm showing up here in my little imperfect podcast setting to tell you again about a little struggle and about a very imperfect moment of my last week, my life experience. So I don't know. I'm not even sure where I want to go with this, but I would love, like really genuinely love to hear if anybody else out there has had some experience like that, or can relate. And it would be even more interesting because I know a lot of you trees and stories people are here. Like, you guys, I love you so much, and I'm cherishing our exchange. You know that. So I would extremely value if there was something within our shared time where I was a facilitator, that you could mirror and reflect back to me. So yeah, that was quite intense. I will also say that those last few days, it's been said numerous times that this retreat will not be called a retreat in the future. It's more of a pilgrimage or an immersion or something that really goes deep. But you know, I had my intention, it was not fulfilled, and I've been taken to such a different space, to such a different learning, and I have seen and noticed different shades and sides that would have otherwise stayed in the dark. So even though I would have probably been happier at home, I am still very glad that I did it. I also, and this is quite hard to admit, and especially admitting that publicly, I I pride myself in being a very independent, grounding, self-sufficient woman. But it was so effing hard that I was away for an entire week. No, a week and 2 days from my love here. I was not prepared how this could feel, because I've never felt that. And I know that that doesn't take away from, my independence, but it does feel vulnerable because I've never been confronted with that feeling. I was really, really good in leaving, in traveling, in doing my own thing, in walking off in this world, and whether it was family or somebody that I dated, in just doing my own thing. And recently we have created a real home, and I mean that in so many layers. We have created a place that I feel deeply at home at, and I haven't had that for such a big part of my life. So it's very, very, very freaking valuable to me. And each time that I've traveled in the past 4 months, and even if my lover here was with me, I have felt a sensation that it's nice to travel, it's nice to get out there. Like, we were in Berlin together, we had my birthday trip to Italy, and I don't know, probably something else. But I've always felt that sense of it's nice to travel, but I would be absolutely fine at home as well. I've never felt that in my life. And now that I've been out there alone, not alone, but now with him, that feeling has been multiplied. And I did not see that coming. I was pretty shocked. So yeah, there's no bigger sense or meaning behind me telling you that, but I'm really just giving you a little life update and appreciating that we hang out here while I'm driving home. Again, it is 1:26 now. I'm tired. You're getting the very unfiltered, tired, messy me here. And since this episode is gonna air today, yay, it's already Thursday and there's a weekend full of joy, of yoga, of bhakti in front of me. I'm lucky enough to be facilitating, teaching a 50-hour bhakti yoga teacher training on the weekend. And once again, I know that many who are in the training will listen to this. I cannot wait for us to start tomorrow. And yeah, that's really my refueling pot. I know that I have a time of joy, of singing out loud, of getting into the wilderness ahead of me, and I am deeply, deeply, deeply grateful for that. So once again, I'm returning home, and what I thought I was searching for out there in the big wide world is found right here in my teeny tiny, cute and charming little town. And this is it. This is it for this week. I hope that you have a nurturing time. I hope that whether you have a lot of joy or pain, suffering, and heartache in your life at the moment, I hope that you have a home, a safe space and community to let it come to the surface. Sometimes we do have to go to these underworld places, and we all know that we all have so many doors in and out of there, and that is so important. We have to go in, we have to stir the pot, we have to sit with the uncomfortable, but we also have to get out of there again and celebrate, enjoy, and love being alive. So with that, thank you for being here. I love you. I hope your week will bring you so much joy.